Okay, so the first technique is change your location. Use very few words. What's the second technique? Keep on trucking. There you go. Remember the mud flap. Now, what's the second technique? Well, before I describe exactly what it is, I'd like to tell you about a little kid I saw over there at Lions Park in Golden. And he's a little kid. Now, if there are two sticks lying on the ground, one is dull, one is sharp, which one will the kid pick up? The sharp one, right? And which end will they have right next to their eye as they're running around like this? So he's got this stick, a sharp stick. He's running all around with it. Little kid, and I'm looking at this, and now I hear his mom, and she's there. She says, "Put the stick down." And he's oblivious. He's chasing a goose, And
Kids with ADHD or autism want to be independent. Try Goalie, the visual scheduler that guides them through routines so you don't have to. Goalie, reinventing routines.
Put the stick down, for crying out loud. You're going to put your eye out. Of course, the hallmark of any attractive object for a child is that it'll put your eye out. I mean, if it won't put your eye out, why play with it? I could actually see you get to a point in history where kids would just cut to the chase and say, Santa, all I want is just something that'll put my eye out. Well, then I hear Mom, and she's back there, and she's saying, "That's one." Now, is he thinking, "Oh, yeah, in that case, I better..." No, he's still got the stick chasing the goose. That's two. I mean it, that's two. That's 2.5. That's 2 3/4. It'd be easier if they used the metric system. That way you could go, that's 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. It'd give you a lot more options, right? What is technique number 2? Change the location of the offending object. Take it away, right? So the first technique is change your location. Second technique is change the location of the offending object, right? What are some of the other applications of this? Well, I knew some parents, the kid was hassling them about the TV, and he turned the TV on, and they're, "No, I don't want to do this sort of thing." What do they do? Well, he goes over to the TV. He's about 4, and he's like, what did they do? Took the knobs off. I mean, do you have to talk with a kid a whole lot about it, or do you just take the knobs off? Take the knobs off, right? I knew a mother of teenagers. Any of you have teenagers here? Okay. Yeah, I know. It's hard. Well, she got sick and tired of fighting with them over TV, so they had this big, huge entertainment center. Well, when they were at school one day, she went behind it, unplugged all the cords, and cut them off with her paring shears. Put a nice picture of the family right in front of the screen. Kids came home. "What's wrong with the TV?" She says, "Well, I love you too much to fight with you about a box full of wires, and I just love you so much, and we hate you. That is so mean." Well, things got weird in that house, let me tell you. She felt like she was in the Twilight Zone because she's washing dishes, and she's looking out the window, she's washing dishes, and she sees something that it sends shivers up her spine. It's so bizarre. Kids out there, hold on to your seat, playing catch out in the yard. Yeah. And then she saw her daughter riding her bike. And then she knew things were really bad when she walked into her son's room and he was breeding. And she said after about 2 weeks, the kids had totally forgot about this whole issue of the TV. But after 1 year, there was one person in the family who had not forgotten or forgiven. And I know you're smart enough to figure that out.
For families living with ADHD or autism, preventing meltdowns is everything. Goalie reduces stress by enabling kids to complete routines independently. Goalie, reinventing routines.
You got a little kid, and he's got his Tonka truck, and he's slamming it up against the molding, right? He's slamming it up against the molding. Do you say a lot of words, or you just say, "How sad, truck's gone right up there, but I want my truck, I know." Isn't it better that they learn when they're 3 not to smash their truck up against the wall than wait till they're 16 and... I mean, think about it, though. Doesn't it make sense? When is the price tag smaller? See, I'm guessing that there's a number of parents in here afraid to let their kids make mistakes. Is it better to let your kids make mistakes when they're 3 or when they're 16? When's the price tag smaller? Yeah. So when you see those mistakes about ready to happen, you say to yourself, well, not going to be any blood. Not going to hurt anybody. Are there times where you stand back and let it happen and then be real sad for your kids so they can learn the valuable lessons in life? It's hard, isn't it? Yeah. Well, back to this technique. Change the location of the offending object. You know, people often ask me, when does a kid get the toy back? And it depends. If it's a chronic problem, when does the toy go back? Never. Thank you. If it's a one-time deal, is a kid who's 2 years old enough to help you with some chores? Yes. Have them help you with some things, even if it really isn't that big of a help. Just so they believe they're helping, then you can say, hey, you know, thanks a lot. I'm feeling pretty good about you having the truck again. Let's see how it goes. But they should earn it back. Why? So they can preserve their own sense of self-esteem. How many of you have played pick up the bottle with your kids or pick up the spoon? Well, you know what I'm talking about, right? They're in the high chair and they're probably only 9 months old and they knock it off. And maybe the first time it's an accident, but they get to see your face that looks like this. And then they say, hey, well, anything that makes a face look like is a great thing, right? Now, here's the question. Who learns quicker? Is it the adult or the kid? And have you ever seen a parent, friend, neighbor, relative lecture the 9-month-old about, here's the technique. Uh-oh, bottle gone. Gets you down nice and gentle. We'll try later. That's it. Here's an important question. How many of you know at least one parent who follows through, maybe takes the thing away or enforces a consequence, but they warn and they lecture way too many times before they follow through? Yeah. What happens when we repeatedly warn a kid before we follow through? That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. Don't you do that again. Is it just possible that we run the risk of helping our kids develop a very dangerously distorted view of cause and effect? Is it just possible that there are a whole bunch of teenagers running around now who were raised with lots of warnings who actually believe down deep in their soul these sorts of things? You know what? I bet I can drive drunk at least 2.5 times before anything bad happens to me.
Kids with ADHD or autism want to be independent. Try Goalie, the visual scheduler that guides them through routines so you don't have to. Goalie, reinventing routines.
Or I bet I can have unprotected sex at least 2.5 times before something bad happens. Or, you know what? I bet I can take this meth, do this meth at least 2.5 times before anything bad happens. I know what I want for my son. I want him to believe that something bad can happen without warning. Because which kid is safer in the long run? So here's the way to remember it. Set the limit once. Let the kid know what you expect. Set the limit once, then what do? Follow through with actions instead of words. So here's the mom in the park, and she's learned a little love and logic. Kid's got a sharp stick. What does she say? Hey, put the stick down. The kid doesn't. What does she do? She runs after him, grabs the stick. Uh-oh, stick gone. Right there, and it's over. That's the technique.